Welcome back as we get ready to go. Hey, what's up, Brandalf the Bro? Thank you so much for the fresh new Prime sub. I really appreciate it. Yeah, discussion about the schedule and obviously Liquid TSL and this overlapping. I mean, what can you do, right? Like, yeah, this takes place 3 days every week. TSL wants to run at the weekends, so does this. Last season or last TSL did run at a later start time than this event, so that was kind of a thing which I think World Team League sort of thought about when they scheduled, but then TSL said, no, we're actually going to run pretty much the same start time as WTL, so then, well, at that point, you can't really avoid it, right? Just two big events, two separate entities. At some point, clashes happen. Unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. INnoVation Rogue, and now I don't want to put too much fear in the hearts of the Kaizi fans, but you guys do need one map, so let's hope INnoVation can pull it against Rogue. I mean, let's hope INnoVation. I kind of want INnoVation to 2-0 because I feel like then it's 2-2 and Solo Zest to me maybe is a 1-1. So maybe that's how I wanted to go. I'm an INnoVation fanboy as well. You know, so maybe that's just my inner Terran speaking. I want whatever gets us an ace match at the end of the day. As in the bottom right, it's INnoVation. The top left, it's Rogue. And as we get into the TvZ, best of 2. With Dragon Phoenix Gaming obviously leading 2-0, which is the team that Rogue is on. Let's see what INnoVation can do. I was telling a story before about when INnoVation was playing Rogue in GSL. He was down a map, and the Kaizi Gaming owner said, look, if he comes back and wins the next 2 maps in a row and advances out of this group, I will buy t-shirts for 1,000 people, all our Kaizi Gaming fans. And then INnoVation went 3-1, and he had to buy a whole bunch of t-shirts. So I kind of forgot that that's actually going to end up being a rematch here, this INnoVation Rogue game. Is that the last time INnoVation Rogue played? I would say probably yes in like a major tournament. They might have played in like an Alpha X event or so. Which not to say Alpha X isn't a major tournament, but a lot of them events are just like a $200 show match or 4-player group kind of thing. So we wouldn't count it out on the same level as GSL or World Team League, you know. I would say the exact same thing about my events because I know someone's going to try and take this the wrong way. Let me just do a bit of search on INnoVation Rogue's history. When was the last time they played? They did play. They did play in the Alpha X event. An Alpha X event 3-1 for INnoVation. Jeez, INnoVation has a win streak, man. Jeez. Okay, maybe it wasn't a GSL. Maybe it wasn't Rogue that he played. Maybe it was Dark. Because he hasn't played Rogue in GSL in a long time. Well, who the hell was it? Who did INnoVation play in GSL? I'm just gonna go have a look, guys. Give me a sec. I can't not know now, because now I've realized it's not Rogue. I'm telling the wrong story. God damn it. INnoVation. It was Dark, right. I wasn't too far off. Rogue was in the same group, but it was Dark. He was down a game, and he won 2 in a row. I had the wrong Dragon Phoenix game, and I knew it was one of them, but I decided it was Rogue and not Dark in an early one of the games when I told the story the first time. But it was, in fact, Dark. God damn it, Wardy. Alright, well, it does actually lead me to saying, though, INnoVation has won 6 series and lost 1 this year against Rogue. Now, that's a statistic. That's a hell of a statistic, and, yeah, that is kind of crazy. And some bigger events as well. WardiTV 2021, Pink Drip Pylon event, that was a bit of a bigger prize pool tournament. NetEase Esports X qualifier. Some pretty big matches that INnoVation has won out in, so, yeah, there's, definitely something to think about there as move on over with these few links counter-attacking in. A couple of SCVs going down. Where is INnoVation's face? Yeah, good question. He was on camera a moment ago. Maybe they have a little technical issue. Anyways, 3CC is the build, so INnoVation going to try and get set up into the economy nice and early on. A couple of Hellions are pouring out of that factory already. The starport finishes up, and we'll just see what comes out of that. Oh, a fusion core. Okay, INnoVation going to play a real switch up. It's been a little while since I've seen INnoVation choosing to play battle cruisers. So 3CC BC. Right, 3 command centers into the battle cruiser. It means that the BC is going to arrive fairly late. Now, if Rogue opens with a lair, INnoVation will have to respect that. And it may have to respect this anyway. That creep team is so close to dying, but it doesn't go down. May have to respect it anyway. This is one of those scenarios where the BC will be so late you can't necessarily just teleport it across the map. Because if this is a lair and a fast aspire, that BC is basically then just, dead. It can't teleport home. In this case, if you fly it across the map, then it has a teleport home at least, as the Overlord here is going to see the unbuilding starport on a tech lab, and then he's going to see it start building perhaps? No, INnoVation is actually going to wait a little longer. But we actually just still didn't have the gas to make it work, actually. So I think he wasn't waiting on purpose. He just had to wait. I actually don't mind that. But then Rogue's maybe like, well, what are you trying to do off that tech lab? Yeah, it's a funky one. As you do see our Banelin Nest starting up. And Rogue, let's see how he counters against this. Larry does start up as well, so as Banelin Nest initially was maybe a little bit afraid of like a Hellbat attack. But then going into the Lair as a follow-up. So yeah, I think Rogue was a little cautious about Hellbats initially here. That's obviously not going to be the case. It is going to be that battle cruiser, and now spores are on the way as well. Big part of this, of course, is having spores, and then, you know, Queen's ready to fight too. And look at INnoVation. He's going to continue into mech. No bio transition for him. He's actually just going to straight up play mech, and it's been a very long time since I saw INnoVation playing mech in TvZ. I can't recall a game I've seen at least which that happened in, so I don't remember. I mean, we've seen mech a little bit in TvZ from some players on 2000 Atmospheres. Romanticide's a decent map for it, but it's also a pretty decent map for bio. And when you compare, like, Romanticide to 2000, the real difference of mech on that map, I think, or the mech between these two maps, is that bio is just better on Romanticide than it is on 2000. So that obviously strengthens mech a little bit on 2000 Atmospheres. I wouldn't say either of these are, like, unplayable or anything along those lines, so this is kind of a little bit crazy. Kind of a little bit crazy, as here we go with the BC showing up, and it is going to come through and putting some damage. I mean, 6 workers go down already, so 6 workers picked off. These couple of Hellenes coming up, and they're going to have to go defend as, oh no, but there's going to be a Ling run by into this main base. Mule just dropped down as well, so this Mule fresh going to die. I mean, 6 drones go down, 6 SCVs already killed, so any work you've done with this battlecruiser is basically being undone by the Zerglings anyway. So yeah, the BC gets across and its harassment is basically instantly cancelled out. Is there a good part of this here, maybe? Maybe you could argue that the Lings that went down were pretty expensive for Rogue, while the BC stays alive. BC will stay alive for a little bit, but that Spire is not far from finishing. BC's teleport is probably just going to be off cooldown in time. This wasn't the fastest possible Lair into Spire because he went for that Banelin Nest before the Lair. And because of that, if he had gone Lair then Banelin Nest, he probably would have had the Spire faster, and hence he probably would have been able to kill the BC if it had teleported. In this case, BC will have its teleport back in play. That's a little worried for Rogue, just for the fact that his supply is very similar to the Terran players. They both get supply blocked, 117 over 117 for a moment there for Minnow, and 114 over 114 for a little longer for Rogue. Yeah, INnoVation leading on supply while playing mech as well, right? Like, maybe with bio, like, okay, a couple supply ahead, whatever. Generally, you still want to be ahead, though, as the Zerg. But now as mech, you're ahead in supply, and, well, I guess let's see what these mutalisks get done. They're going to find these Hellions middle of the map, but they're obviously keeping the map control. So INnoVation knows he doesn't send the Hellions elsewhere to try and buy time against these mutas. He kind of just lets these mutas run around and chase in, have some fun. There's Hellions coming through. So a bunch of those Lings going down. The rest of these mutalisks moving back up as well. And that's just going to be it for the moment. So it doesn't actually get through for too much damage. And INnoVation will defend. So if INnoVation's able to defend, that's definitely a positive for now. Anything you can do to stay alive and survive against the mech player is generally going to be a good thing. Motto going off as well. Striking back at the striking back at a Mutalisk for a moment or two. More mutas just gonna go out over the far right hand side. I mean, plenty of them gonna go around. It's gonna go launch an attack on the natural expansion, I think. Just missed that turret already going down, so that's gonna fall. Again, Cyclone, Thor continue to build up as well. All of that just continuing through. And yeah, Queen, a few mutas moving around. Nothing all too crazy. Game just take a moment to settle down then. Right, and obviously you're playing this mech style, and now you've got a Zerg playing Lingbane Muta against mech. Now, what's funny is this is the second time we've seen this week in the World Team League. Because our starting matchup the other day, Alpha X versus Alphax versus Invictus Gaming. Ragnarok taking on XY. XY played Mech, and Ragnarok played Ling Bay Muta against it, and he just about won in the end, but it was very difficult for Ragnarok. Now, this was a style for a while against Mech. It was the go-to, and the idea was you shut down the economy a lot. You make life very difficult for the Terran when it comes to expanding. You out-expand them. You have the map control. You have super mobile units. In a straight-up fight, you die as the Zerg player, but you just never take a straight-up fight, and you can make up for the lack of efficiency because you're really shutting down bases. It's going to be difficult to stop INnoVation getting to a lot of the bases he wants to get to on this map. I like that, talking down a missile turret, maybe giving you a chance to jump in on this Thor here, but I mean, there's still a couple turrets. There's other Thors on the right side, and I don't think that's a decent trade at all for Rogue. I mean, it gets a tank as well, I suppose. Quite a few of the mutas going down at the end, as depots and new turrets will rebuild. Yeah, it's definitely tough on Romantic side to stop the Terran from getting new bases, because that right side, you can slowly work up the right side, you can slowly work around the bottom. There's a lot of bases to go to. One of the things you might have to do later in this game as the Zerg player is perhaps go into something along the lines of just taking one of the bases the Terran is meant to mine and mining that yourself. Let's see, I love the Nidus. I mean, the Nidus is a fantastic way to, well, first of all, just take advantage of the fact INnoVation has no information or vision here. But just the fact that, you know, the Nidus just says, hey, you know, you have a low mobility army. It's just another way for me to get in, deal damage, slow down economy and production, because that's the way you win this game as Rogue. You whittle down the Terran play. You don't win it with one big fight. You gotta whittle them down. You gotta do this over time. As these few Banes gonna come rolling through. INnoVation pulled those SCVs away in plenty of time this time. He has lost 11 SCVs, mostly just up in the main base. The BCs get caught by mutas, but they teleport back home. And then gain 11 SCVs, but you clean up a lot of these lings, so it's efficient for the Terran, so you make up for some of those economy losses. What I do wonder is just when we see our first kind of attempt for 5th base, because I think that 5th base is the one you're really going to start wanting to deny as the Zerg. I think you kind of accept he's going to get 4 bases, and then you really want to try and stop him getting beyond 4 bases for as long as possible. That CC did not cancel, so what was going to be the 5th base is now taken out of the equation already. Just coming back around as we do have the one Overlord coming out down the bottom. Second one has a lock on. Overlord goes down, but the Niduses do go up, and INnoVation is going to have to bring other units to defend these. He's still trying to push away and attack out on toward the 3rd base as well. It's just making sure to do that. Both these Niduses do go down pretty much as they pop, so INnoVation gets the defense at the time it was needed. And we're just going to work back around the right-hand side and trying to figure out what they want to do. Cyclones and Hellions moving together. They're going to start going out around the right again. Overlord going around the upper right-hand corner. And joins up once again as our Bane's going to cross over. Our mutas fly around. Haven't seen Nidus in what feels like forever. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of it as like late game harassment, but that really has been its major tool lately. We see it in ZVZ, I guess. Right? We had some crazy Niduses this week in World Team League again as well. Yeah, I don't see it a lot in ZVT nowadays, I guess, unless Bly's playing the game. His Ling's gonna run in, and okay, you start with a siege tank, but how much more do you get? Because if all of these Lings go down without any other kills, you know, again, the efficiency question comes into play, and right now it feels like INnoVation is being very efficient. Rogue is obviously, yes, he's had a couple of denials of economy, but I'd say overall the economy of INnoVation has been sitting pretty happy. 2 additional starports have been brought in. Now, one thing we've not really mentioned for Rogue, because it's kind of just a given, but it's worth keeping, you know, in mind, is the fact there are bases coming down pretty much all over the map. So Rogue has got the map in his control. That's not where INnoVation looks to win this game. INnoVation looks to win this game slowly, surely. He doesn't care if Rogue mines everything, because in the end, he's going to win this out. But the thing is, that is in the end. That's not in the next 5 minutes. No, that's after a lot of continuous trades here as well. Oh, this Cyclone's in a bit of trouble. That's a lot of Banes. You just want to split to minimize, obviously, how much the Banelings do get. And overall, that probably still isn't too efficient of a trade. when you consider it from the Zerg's point of view. Because that's a ton of banelings. Some of them crashed in, some of them just died. You can see already there the resources lost was in favor of INnoVation by a substantial amount in both minerals and in gas. The Ultralisk still coming through. The +3 flyer attack coming up as well. And the +1 missile upgrade is also currently on its way in. Our few lings trying to go forward and go for those SCVs. Now going to get those lings to jump in for the siege tank. Going to get that as well. And the BC is going to go after the other lings. Again, some very superficial damage to tank and so on. I mean, obviously lings are cheap enough to kind of trade out. But now he's diving in with the mutas. Now he just gets denied the first BC. Looks as though it will actually go down here. Okay, I mean, he traded out for a whole bunch of Mutalisks, though. Obviously, it would be nice to save the BC, because usually that is a savable unit in that scenario. But I don't hate any of this for INnoVation. Like, yes, Rogue has a massive bank. I just don't see what his endgame is. I mean, his endgame is basically hoping that at some point INnoVation's economy dries up, and that Rogue can outmax him. Which basically means he wants to keep on shutting down bases, right? That's the really important part of this. That's a double Yamato into a dead Ultralisk. Nice. Okay, this one Ultra dealt with. The other Ultra still coming through. Ultras and Banes continue in, and that planetary fortress is going to fall. Ultra in the upper right gets taken down, so the Thors come through, doing pretty well with that. Still seeing a good amount of Lingbane now down to the bottom side of the map. So all the Lings are going to go up this ramp as Ahalian is going to take a little bit of damage. Some tanks are firing away at Zerglings, so a little bit more being done. Now these Lings are going to turn onto a missile turret, and they're just going to be able to grab that. Take that down already as the meters come back through the bottom side, drop down the Nidus network once again. Again, just endless harassment here, basically, from Rogue. Just keeps on coming through with more and more. And no, teleports BCs into the Muta Corruptor fight. That might not have been the play, honestly. Yeah, I mean, is that just desperation from INnoVation? Tell you what INnoVation does have. A lot of army supply right now that's pushing across the map. He's going to initiate a base trade where, well, let's see, the first round of Banes coming through. He's got a bunch of Liberators as well to help out. If INnoVation's army just never dies, what does Rogue end up doing here? Well, basically you have to win the base trade, right? But even right now in the base trade, he's not doing that well. He's actually basically been stopped, and now a lot of Rogue's supply, he's already 40 army supply down, and that supply that he has includes 4 Ultras that are in production, so Rogue has like 60 army supply less than INnoVation on the map right now. Maybe that's not super true, because I guess INnoVation has units in rebuild mode as well at the moment. Drones pulling in and actually taking up a lot of the Thor shots, definitely helping. Corruptor's getting chased away. Where are the mutas at? All the mutas dead? Are they done? Are they just not coming back? I thought they were with the Corruptors, but I didn't see any of them there, so maybe I've just misseen, but I mean, INnoVation's attack continues through. This is what INnoVation's been doing all game long. He's just been building up this mega army and eventually saying, right, once you put too much into the harassment, I'm gonna go. And obviously with so many drones on the map, you know, Rogue just didn't have a good initial army. Now, as 9 Ultras spawn, can 9 Ultras fight this with Liberator support on those Thors? It's a possibility. Is it a, you know, will it actually work out? You know, I'm not sure. The meters just melted into some Thors. Yeah, I just missed that then, so apologies. These Ultras just die so quickly, man. Like, it's not even funny how quick they die. And now 62 Lings are building. Problem is, Lings die very quick in this scenario as well. Lings are probably the most effective thing you could build right now. But with a few tanks, a lot of the Lings won't even get on top of their targets. And Rogue wanted to keep INnoVation home, and at some point INnoVation just said, I'm not scared of you at home anymore. I mean, now he's just going to go counterattack again. So yeah, INnoVation is going to lose bases, but obviously what is Rogue already losing? Well, he's losing bases too. The good news for Rogue in a long base trade? Oh my god, this planetary survives. Oh my god! Oh no, it's over, right? Jeez, I thought that planetary was at least dead. I was going to say in a long base trade, at least Rogue has more bases, so INnoVation has more stuff to clean up, but Rogue isn't even clearing up bases! Yeah, that planetary survives. Oh my god, I mean, these Ultras are going to last 2 seconds. Not even. INnoVation gets the game, and Rogue has to tap out. And that's massive, because that's the one map you need, is that's the wrong scoreboard. That's the one map you need here is INnoVation and Kaizi Gaming to guarantee third place in the league. So they get their map to guarantee third place. Obviously, the rest of these games still important for the rivalry between these teams, but INnoVation played a tank to death, right? There is no composition that's good against MECH necessarily. It's the way you play against MECH and the way you use your units. In this case, obviously Rogue, very early in the game, had kind of committed to mutas and melee upgrades and stuff, and Banes and Lings. And a lot of people do this style where they just say, right, I'm on Mutiling Bane, so I'm going to be committed to Mutiling Bane. I didn't really realize you were going MECH for too long. At which point it's very difficult for him to transition out, so you're kind of stuck on Mutiling Bane. And that's why it was kind of the way to play against MECH for a while, because A, it was new, so it was difficult for the Terran players to know how to play against it, but B, it was at a time where, like, fast lair into very quick spires was, like, the real go-to, and that still is kind of the thing now, but it's a little bit less common. You don't always see, like, the super quick spire. Like, it's a fast lair usually, but not always with a spire, right? So, yeah, no, Rogue just didn't quite get to tech up at all, and that was definitely the issue. Vipers? Yeah, but I don't think Vipers helps in that last game, right? The problem with Vipers in the last game is, what do? You abduct a unit or two into some ultras and so on, or meters? I just don't think you get the opportunity, actually. I'm not sure if you really find that chance, because INnoVation never made, like, one slow attack that you pick away at. He made one massive attack when Rogue was already throwing things at him left, right, and center. Vipers and Broods. Well, I think he was wanting, like, a Broodlord transition. He just didn't have the time to get there, right? So, yeah, eventually that's how you do get an army to win the game. I think you get up to, like, Ultra Brood, that combination. So don't get me wrong, I think Vipers eventually. It's just at the state of the game that Rogue lost in. Like, what INnoVation did was he really just got to a point where he's like, right, I've got the army right now, and I see you're committing a lot to a counterattack that I can also hold with ease, right? Like, yeah, he took some damage, but he pushed it back. And in pushing it back, all of a sudden, INnoVation was then pushing, and Rogue had to go full defense, and he just couldn't make a base trade work, and he couldn't make the army fight work. So Rogue's plan fell apart very quickly. And yeah, that's why it is difficult to pull off that Lingbane kind of style against the mech. It is very good. It is very difficult. Honestly, I will go back and say I think just a lot of how Rogue played the game in the lead up to that point just wasn't good enough. You know? I think it really just got to the stage where a lot of the run-bys that Rogue was making... Yeah, don't get me wrong, there were run-bys that killed 10 SCVs, and INnoVation just instantly rebuilt them. And the amount of Lings that were lost in trying to get those 10 SCVs was just too many, and I think there was just a lot of efficiency issues for Rogue early on in the game. I also felt like a lot of the time he was fighting with meters into like 5 turrets and a Thor, and it's just like, yeah, you'll kill the Thor in a tank, but then you lose like 7 mutalisks along the way, so who's really winning there? The Terran player, more or less. Starport will drop down in the main base of INnoVation. Gets that started up as that queen. It needs to produce about halfway done at the moment here. The Lings run in, they're just going to go for the Reaper. In the acceleration zone, the Lings with Ling speed still don't run out actually. Reaper gets a kill. So yeah, that Ling speed doesn't really do much, and the Reaper does pick up the kill here. And we just continue kind of through early. Sorry, I know kind of first couple minutes we just kind of spent talking about how the last game ended up, but yeah, it was a bit of a different start. I think it's definitely one that's worth talking about a little bit for sure. I can get behind it. Roach-Roaring on the way from Rogue this time around. Now, it's a fairly quick Roach-Roaring, right? It's definitely not like, oh, defensive. He'll definitely put some pressure on from this point, I'm sure. Question is how much pressure? How many Roaches? How quick do you drone behind this? There's a lot of overlords just being made. So there's the Roaches starting to build. Tech Lab on the starboard is a very good sign for INnoVation. So is the fact that this is just a 2 gas opener, right? Like, he does not look to set up into 3cc here in the slightest. So this actually looks really good for INnoVation right now. He's doing pretty much all of the things which will help him against like a roach attack. All he needs is this medevac to actually pick up on the information that there is a roach attack coming. He saw some blings running across the map. He's already got the first Banshee on the way. So honestly, INnoVation is setting himself up into a fantastic position to begin with, at least. Looking really good as a few Hellions come toward the center. He sees it now. He knows what's up. Well, like I say, the first Banshee's going to pop. It's going to come straight to the middle of the map. It wants to find those roaches and it wants to get on top of them ASAP. The sooner you get on top of those roaches, the sooner you start clearing them out. Is actually going to bring other Hellions forward here with the Marines and just get a few Ling kills already. Rogue still making a lot of Lings as well, so he's not droning immediately behind this. He will drone at some point, of course, but that has not begun just yet. It's going to start now, so there is going to be a little bit of following up, follow-up Lings here to begin with. First Ravagers going down to the Banshees. Obviously, take away those Ravagers, lower HP. They die pretty quick. And they're so important to have as the Zerg, because the Corrosive Biles obviously are, one of the most powerful tools the Zerg have in these busts. And this is an unsuccessful bust for sure. INnoVation will come out. You might be like, well, INnoVation only on the same work account. You gotta remember this was a really easy hold for the fact that INnoVation was not on a super early 3rd CC as well. So it's not one of those scenarios where INnoVation's work account is going to be beyond crazy. But it's definitely a very comfortable position because the lair is very late from Rogue. His drone count was held up a lot. And INnoVation didn't even need to deal harassing damage to justify his later than usual 3rd base. Because Rogue gave that damage to INnoVation just by failing this attack. So INnoVation really is set up very well at this point. One Hellion does get picked off as the Banshees are obviously going to have the chance to go around now as well. And that's the thing, the Terran has all of their usual tech at this stage still to try and deal some damage. So yeah, these Banshees going to get a shot too. I mean, looks like Rogue was well defended across the board and hasn't allowed for the Banshees to get in to do anything as well. I get the Roach speed started up on the Roach run here, so gets that underway. Hellions and the Marines continuing through as well. Those Banshees will make their way down to the south, and when you see the Spire, the Balin Nest, all of that continuing through as well as our Banshees come around. That one drone kind of wanted to go to the bottom corner, but it doesn't quite get there, or doesn't quite feel like it wants to commit there. We still have some other Lings out over on the left-hand side. Is building up on the natural. We see a few Hellions tagging up a few of those Zerglings. A few Lings taking some hits. He's going to run in for that 3rd base right now as the SCV is going to be in a bit of trouble. Uh-oh. That's a wide open 3rd base. Now INnoVation's counterattacking. 17 workers. Well, he kills the 4th. I mean, a 4th base denial is fantastic. He needs to not take any more damage over here, though. And the problem is he only has so many Marines. The choke up with the tank is really helping. Oh my god, I mean, these Lings really did get held up hardcore there, and it is not going to be any further damage. Wow. 19 SCVs is a lot, don't get me wrong, but losing the 4th as a Zerg is very painful. And there's honestly a situation right now as Mutas are building. They don't help to clean up this attack, and this attack from INnoVation may just keep on doing damage here. I mean, INnoVation really isn't on a bad work account. He's also got an upgrade lead. Man, INnoVation just has everything right now. Again, obviously, he's in a lead coming off of that initial defense against the Roaches. He splits up the ramp. Oh my god, none of the Balins connect. That's a really miraculous fight, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, because those Banes, he ran, he split, and knew when he could just stand and fight. Has very good awareness of what he was up against there and what he needed to do. Now these Mutas are going to go down, and INnoVation is going to win the game off this push. Wow, okay. INnoVation gets the 2-0 over Rogue. I think that's what we need if we want a best chance to go into the ace, because I can absolutely see Solar Zest going 1-on-1 here. INnoVation 2-0 Rogue with a couple different games. Obviously, one with mech and one with bio after an initial defense definitely trivialized it a little bit. Solo Zesta